Welcome to the Get Real podcast. My name is Austin. I'll be your host. And today we're going to do a part 2 to an episode I did before. We're going to run over some trade scenarios. I went through them last night, some trades that were beneficial for both parties. Usually when you have people do a little trade breakdown, it's usually one-sided, or it's a trade that makes you go, why the hell would anybody do that ever? So I thought I came up with some realistic ideas, things that could happen that would be very beneficial for these teams. I got 5 different trades. Let me know what you guys think about them, and I'll explain why these could work. So first one, I'm going to go down to Texas, more specifically San Antonio. I would say Mills or Pau Gasol combined with their Toronto first-round pick for Nikola Vucevic. Now, some of you guys saying, well, why would Orlando do that? They have Nikola's killing it this year. He's been great for them. I agree. He's a great player. He's also on a 1-year contract, and I doubt he's going to stay with a team that's made him suffer for how many years now with just lottery pick after lottery pick, never touching the playoffs. The guy's going to want to be competitive eventually. And right now he's playing for that contract year. Players who are in the last year of their contract tend to ball out. It happens. And then when they get that new paycheck, they're usually not as good. And that's just how not only the NBA works, how sports works for the most part. So what they would get out of this is a championship vet, because Mills won a championship in 2014, and he's a point guard, which is something they need. They just need a point guard, because T.J. Augustine is just he's not it, Chief. He's a good guy, decent backup. He's not the guy. Or you could have Gasol. Now Gasol might work better because he's only guaranteed for $6.7 million next year, and you can waive and stretch that, so it's only $2 million over the next 3 years, right? But either way, you're getting a player with championship experience to help lead and teach your young guys, because you have Jonathan Isaac, Aaron Gordon, Mo Bamba, and then probably whatever pick you're having this year, right? They need that experience. No one on this roster has really been there, really done anything. So if you give them Gasol, that's a good guy for your star center, hopefully, Mo Bamba, to learn from, right? And maybe even Aaron Gordon can benefit from it. 2-time champion. He's still got something left in the tank. You get good experience, and you don't take too much cap back. And hey, you get a pick out of it. So it all works out. Spurs get, in return, Nikola, who's a very good center, can move LaMarcus Aldridge back to his natural power forward spot, and now their front court is pretty set, right? They're looking good, and also frees up some cap for them for the following year in the offseason. So it's just something that both teams can really get something from. Next trade, and I've said this before with other people around here, is John Wall for Whiteside. Whiteside has been a player that Miami's been trying to move for years. For at least the past 2 to 3 years, Miami Heat have been checking on other teams, saying if they want Whiteside. Last playoffs, he hardly played. I don't think he played more than 15 minutes a game. He's kind of a head case of a player, but hey, it's a head case for a head case. Miami, now people say, well, why would Miami do this trade? They probably need to rebuild, right? That's not how Pat Riley in this front office thinks. They've gone after every single superstar free agent or trade piece for the past 4 or 5 years, all the way back to LaMarcus Aldridge. It's been going on continuously. They keep going for LaMarcus. They try to go for Jimmy Butler in a trade. They obviously want a superstar that can make them at least somewhat relevant. They're desperate for any sort of star. I think they should rebuild, but that's not what they're showing they're doing. They're paying out meddling starters to bench players, paying them big contracts to stay relevant. And Pat Riley wants to win. They're not into a rebuilding process, no matter how bad they need one. So John Wall for Whiteside. Maybe the Wizards can throw in a few, like a late first round pick in a few years from now that's lottery protected, if they need to sweeten the deal. But either way, Washington gets rid of John Wall, gets rid of that contract. They can move on. They have to deal with Whiteside for like another year after this one. They can start the slate clean. So that's how I think that works. Number 3, we're going to go for Nick Batum. And I'm going to give my boy Emax some props for this, because he brought this trade to my attention. I looked at it, dissected it, ran it through the trade machine. I can get with it. So Nick Batum from the Charlotte Hornets traded to Houston for Brandon Knight, Nene Hilario, and then Chris. So that works out in a multitude of ways. They're getting a defensive wing that shoots threes, even though Batum is having kind of a rough year. It's just he's kind of getting older, but he can still play really good defense and hit the open jump shot, which is what Houston needs. Houston needs somebody on the wings because they have nobody. They can probably throw in a pick if needed, I think Charlotte, to make this trade work, will have to cut one of these players, most likely Nene, because of his contract right away. He's only on a 1-year deal. And then just get rid of him. That way they don't have too many players on a roster. In return, they get Markieff Chris, who, he was a lottery pick. I don't think his option's been picked up for next year, so he's an unrestricted free agent as well. But at least you get to test drive that guy, see if he has anything to give y'all. And then Brandon Knight's just fill it to make the contract work. So that could be a mutually beneficial trade for them, because they've been trying to get rid of that Nick Batum contract for a while now, along with MGK, right? So if they can get rid of that $24 million for like the next year or 2 or 3 years, something like that, it's like 24 for this year, next year, and the following year. So it's a big contract, but it's a guy that Houston needs, and Houston needs him right now. They're past the point of trying to conserve cap. They're going to be already over luxury tax for years to come, because they're going to be paying Chris Paul $40 million and Harden $40 million. So they're kind of stuck anyway. Might as well swing for the fences, see what happens. So my fourth trade is, now this is kind of a unique one. We're double dipping back to Texas again, going to the Spurs again. LaMarcus Aldridge for Paul Millsap. Now I know that sounds weird. Why would Denver do that? They're a really good team. They're doing just fine. Millsap's kind of injury prone. He's getting paid $30+ million. He plays decent defense, but he really can't stay on the court. He's having trouble with that. Now, what kind of system would really make LaMarcus stand out? He was a second-team All-NBA player just last season, so he still has plenty left in the tank, at least for this year or two. If you put a passing big man like Jokic and pair him up with LA, that's where he excels. Why do you think Pop plays Pau Gasol and LA together so often? It's not because they're the Twin Towers reincarnated. It's because Pau Gasol really moves the ball well for a big man. That high-low pass between the two is perfection. So you give LA Jokic, who averages about 6 to 7 assists per game and is a superstar center, and then you surround LA with shooters like Jamal Murray, Gary Harris, Will Barton. Those guys are pure three-point shooters. So you can't double-team LA anymore like teams have been able to do, because Spurs have 2 mid-range stars for players. Because with the Spurs to LA, you can double-team them a lot, because San Antonio doesn't shoot many threes. DeMar DeRozan can't shoot threes, so it clogs up the paint a little bit more. You're more willing to double-team somebody, right? But you have those 3 guys I just mentioned as three-point shooters, and Jokic can also shoot 3 and move the ball well. It's going to make it really, really tough to double-team him, period. And I think he would really excel in that situation. Now, with the Spurs get back, is basically getting that contract off the books. Now, it's not too bad of a contract, but it works. So, because there's a team option for Paul Millsap for $30 million after this season, they can just say no to that, and boom, that's $25 million off the books, and they're done, right? Then they can probably pursue someone else in free agency, a shooter, a small forward, someone that can benefit their system more. And LA still gets to be with a contender, so everybody kind of wins that scenario. At most, if San Antonio needs to sweeten the pot, which I don't see why they would, they can throw in a 2020 lottery protected first rounder or a pair of second rounders if they need to. So let me know what you guys think about that one, because that's been one I've been stewing over for a while. Number 5, Terrence Ross and Jonathan Simmons for Robertson and Alex Abrines, plus a first round pick from OKC. Now that sounds like a lot, but let me break it down for you. Terrence Ross is a marksman. He's kind of inconsistent, but he can shoot pretty well. He can move the ball. He plays solid defense. You can play him at 2 or 3 spot. Jonathan Simmons has had a rough year, but he has the history of being a very productive spark plug off him. Now, OKC's already a top defensive team in the West, and I get having too much defense isn't a bad thing, but you need some balance. And Robertson, who knows when he comes back, that injury's been hindering him for too long. You kind of have to throw in Alex Abrines to make the contracts work out, and Abrines isn't doing that good anyway this year. He's shooting 34% from the field, 32% from 3. Nothing spectacular, plays about 19 minutes a game. So you're getting some better wings, and actually get some better cap salary coming back, because Roberson's guaranteed $10 million next year. Terrence Ross and Jonathan Simmons are both free agents. Actually, you know what? Jonathan Simmons is guaranteed $1 million next year if you just waive him, so that's the only hit you're taking. You open up about $8 to $9 million. You get some better shooters for your team that needs some better shooters, because that's what they need. They don't need to double down on defense. They need a little bit more balance. So that's how that trade works out for them. What do you guys think of the trades I give you? Now, I know some of these trades aren't guaranteed to happen a la the Spurs because the Spurs don't make trades. It's not what they do. But it's something to keep in mind. Plug it into 2K, see how it works for you guys. If you have any other trade scenarios, leave them in the comment section of this video. Let me know what you guys think. I always enjoy your guys' feedback. As always, this was the Get Real Podcast. Thank you.